Speeches that Changed the World, introduced by Simon Sebag Montefiore. A great speech catches the truth of its era, whether its nobility or its folly. The virtue of this wonderful collection of 20th century speeches that changed the world is the selection of such orations that defined their time. Each of these speeches is so iconic that everyone who heard them on the radio would remember where they were and what they were doing. Most of them are noble orations, uplifting hymns to democratic freedom, encapsulating the principles of decency, tolerance, and liberty that we so cherish in the West. These are good words that enlightened the world. On the page, they are inspiring enough. But on this audio version, we can actually hear the character of those giants who addressed the world and set it alight with their words. Here is greatness, and here is folly too. Listen to the reedy, pedantic voice of Neville Chamberlain, or the sweaty awkwardness of Nixon on the defensive. Then hear the slight lisp and courageous growl of Winston Churchill. We can actually imagine how he inspired Britons faced with invasion from a hostile and barbarous continent under the Nazi jackboot. From America, that arsenal of democracy, we listen to Roosevelt and hear the aristocratic, almost upper-class English tone that belied the determination and cunning of the ultimate American statesman. In Jack Kennedy, there's the youthful Irish Bostonian lilt that filled the world with hope, and in Ronald Reagan, the honeyed delivery of the great communicator. Then there's the sound of justice straining passionately at the leash. Chaim Herzog's disgust and defiance is clearly audible beneath his slight Irish accent, while Martin Luther King's poetry is not just heard in the words, but also in the rising cadence of his voice. All these speeches are vivid lessons for us in the 21st century. In a television age when oratory is no longer so prized and where education is increasingly weak, these speeches teach us the power of words. Many of these speakers enjoyed classical educations, but others were self-taught. One rule stands out: the simpler, the better. Another is about authorship. The finest speeches are generally not written by speechwriters, or at least their essence is created by the person delivering the address. Their words are plain and simple. Their message rings absolutely clear. Jack Kennedy, Franklin Roosevelt, and Ronald Reagan worked with teams of speechwriters who understood them and their capabilities well, but the essence is theirs. Churchill, of course, wrote and rewrote his own speeches. He was his own speechwriter. But there are also lessons here that show us the power of the ad-lib, the refreshing sound of genuine anger and spontaneous frustration expressed in fine words. Martin Luther King's speeches were vaguely planned, but expanded according to the passion of the moment and the reaction of the audience. The mark of the soaring eloquence of the brilliant preacher. Equally, words and pretty phrases can lie and trick. Think of Richard Nixon. Hindsight can prick the balloon of contemporary excitement. Think of Chamberlain. Some speeches reek of vanity and delusion. Listen to General Douglas MacArthur. Neville Chamberlain is even more the butt of the sad joke in his notorious speech, because it's hard to imagine a greater mistake of judgment and delusion of achievement expressed in simple words. Many of the speeches thus reveal not merely the personalities of these giants, their flaws and virtues, but also their decisive moments. Each of these speeches did truly shatter or make their times. No one will ever forget where they were when they heard George Bush's speech on 9/11, or Franklin Roosevelt's after Pearl Harbor. For me, the two best speeches, in terms of language delivery and effectiveness, are opposites. One is that of Churchill, because of the Edwardian aristocrat's mastery of the English language and his courageous realism. And the other is Martin Luther King's jubilant and sensitive affirmation of his dream of freedom. It's more than a speech, more than a poem, and like the best of these orations, it is truly a song of liberty.